All right, let's set the scene. The date is August 12th, 1521. We are inside Tenochtitlan, the very heart of the Aztec Empire, and this is the final night it will ever exist. Now, what's happening isn't some chaotic last-ditch battle, no. This is something much colder. It's the quiet, calculated dismantling of one of the most incredible cities ever built.
You can just imagine the mood inside the city. It's thick with what historical sources describe as intense fear and anxiety. For months, a brutal siege led by the Spanish and their local allies has been literally strangling the capital. From his palace, the Emperor CuauhtÄ can hear the constant rumble of Spanish cannons. His people are starving, the city is collapsing, and he knows the final assault is coming.
So, to really get why this final day was so dramatic, you first have to understand the city itself. Tenochtitlan wasn't just another city on a map. It was an architectural marvel, a fortress built on a lake. And its unique design was both its greatest strength and, in the end, its greatest weakness.
So how did this island city connect to the rest of the world? Through these incredible causeways. I mean, think of them as massive, fortified bridges. They were the only way in or out by land, and they were designed from the ground up to be absolute kill zones for any army foolish enough to invade. If you controlled the causeways, you controlled the city. Simple as that.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. The best modern comparison for Tenochtitlan is probably Alcatraz. Just like the famous prison, the city was purposefully designed to be an inescapable island fortress. Its very layout was a statement, a declaration of power, security, and a direct challenge to anyone on the outside.
But don't get me wrong, this was no grim, gray fortress. Inside those defensive walls, Tenochtitlan was maybe the most luxurious city on the planet. We're talking lavishly furnished rooms, sprawling botanical gardens, even private zoos with exotic animals. And at the center of it all stood the Templo Mayor, a colossal double pyramid that was part temple, part watchtower, giving a perfect view of any threat. It was, in every sense of the word, a gilded cage.
Now, the Spanish commander, Hernán Cortés, he wasn't stupid. He knew a direct, frontal assault on those causeways was basically a death sentence for his men. They'd be slaughtered. So, he came up with a much smarter, much more calculated, three-step plan to take the city down from the inside out.
So here's the game plan, and it's pretty brilliant, really. Step 1, you have to control the water. Cortés had these custom ships called brigantines, built specifically to dominate Lake Texcoco and cut off all the city's supplies. Step 2, breach the perimeter. Use those ships and your ground troops to fight your way across the causeways. And then step 3, the final move, eliminate the target. You capture or kill the head of the empire, Emperor CuauhtÄ.
That initial push for the Spanish? It was a total nightmare. As they tried to advance down the causeways, they discovered the Aztecs had torn out the wooden bridges over the gaps, creating these deadly bottlenecks. Warriors were attacking from everywhere, from fortified rooftops, from canoes, raining down stones and spears. The Spanish were basically fighting blind for every single inch of ground.
Okay, so now it's the morning of August 13th, 1521. The Spanish realize their old tactics just aren't cutting it. It's time for the final push. The new target isn't just the city anymore. It's the city's spiritual and political heart, the sacred precinct, home of the Templo Mayor.
And this timeline shows you just how methodically the end came. The morning starts with cannons being rolled right up to the gate. By midday, they're using high-power explosives to just shatter the Aztec defenses. By the afternoon, Spanish soldiers are flooding into the most sacred plazas and climbing the Templo Mayor itself. By late afternoon, it's pretty much all over, forcing the emperor himself to make a run for it.
And the fighting inside that sacred precinct, wow, it was brutal. Up close and personal, a block-by-block, house-by-house struggle. You had the raw violence of the conquest, literally staining the pristine marble floors and the incredible stone carvings of the Aztec temples. The Spanish were destroying a civilization, even as they were marveling at its genius.
As his city is literally burning around him, Emperor CuauhtÄ has a moment of clarity. He knows the battle for Tenochtitlan is lost. But the war for the empire? Well, that might not be. He decides to make one last, desperate gamble to save everything.
He gets into a canoe and tries to flee across the lake, hoping to reach the mainland and rally a whole new army. But remember step 1 of Cortés's plan? Control the lake. His brigantines proved to be the decisive weapon. The emperor's canoe was spotted almost immediately and intercepted on the open water.
And just like that, with the capture of CuauhtÄ, the Aztec resistance effectively ends. It just collapses. In a single afternoon, the entire command structure was gone. The empire that had dominated the region for a century had been decapitated. From the Spanish point of view, the threat had been completely and totally eliminated. But for the Spanish, conquering Tenochtitlan wasn't enough. Their goal was to erase it. They wanted to make sure that the Aztec culture, religion, and power could never, ever rise again. So, they began to systematically dismantle the entire city.
They tore down the magnificent temples and palaces, stone by stone. And this one line from the source material just says it all. It's as if the palace had never existed at all. They then took the rubble from the Aztec pyramids and used it to build their own colonial capital, Mexico City, directly on top of the ruins.
So what happened to the Templar Mayor, the very center of the Aztec universe? For centuries, its ruins were just buried, forgotten, its history hidden away. The site where this incredible structure once stood was, at one point, nothing more than a parking lot in modern Mexico City, a truly unmarked grave for an entire empire.
And that really leaves us with this final, kind of haunting thought, doesn't it? The story of Tenochtitlan is a powerful reminder that the cities we all live in today are often built directly on top of other worlds, other histories. It really makes you wonder, how many other stories, how many other empires lie buried just beneath our feet?